guys, it's your girl Sierra. Welcome back to my channel. Ooh, my hair. This video is going to be about the summer I turned pretty, mainly how third places are very important. Let's go on into it. So what is a third place? A third place is a place outside of home and work where people can gather, connect, and communicate and really just build connections. That's essentially what a third place is. So for us millennials, we had like after school, like even just not even millennials, but there's like after school programs, and it's not necessarily like within the school or like summer camps, just camps in general. Shoot, the mall that we went to as millennials, that's where we really congregated the most. Outside in general too, just hanging out like at the park, the library, different places like that. Those are essentially third places that people can congregate and build connections and all that kind of cool stuff. Being a teenager, there's a lot of social pressure, there's a lot of mental health and familial issues, and just economic pressures and limitations when it comes to being a teenager, where having these third places are extremely important to foster connections with other teenagers, not even just teenagers, but other people who are like-minded like you. Maybe you never met them before. You guys go to different schools, different districts, but you guys end up building like really strong and deep connections, because when it comes to the world, your best friend could be across the fucking ocean and you would never know. There's so many people in the world that there is so many different people that you could develop connections with. Obviously, we're not going to know everybody, but there is literally so many options, and the world is so vast that forming connections with people is like astronomical. It's kind of out there how crazy people can bond and connect and form relationships with each other across seas, across state lines, anything like that. And third places are really where people can actually build those connections. So in the summer I turned pretty, the beach house is the third place. You see where I'm getting at, right? There is literally like a decade of memories within the beach house, at least a decade, because I believe Conrad is about like, everyone else is in high school. I think he was just graduating high school, so he was about 18. So almost two decades worth of memories in the beach house. And that's just assuming that Laurel and Savannah had their babies there. Like, not literally like had their babies, you know what I mean, but at least like had their infants and toddlers hanging out together, like by the pool, walking around, toddling around, you know, doing the thing. Like if they literally have been going to the beach house for as long as it's portrayed, they've always have gone to the beach house. So they've literally spent like their entire lives there. That is their third place. That is their sanctuary, per se. The characters really refer to it as Laurel's and Savannah's house, because they are extremely deeply connected, which is, if you watch my other videos, then you know what I'm talking about. Moving on to how everyone feels through the house and feels the connection with the house. Belly sees this as like this fairy tale, going to cousins, going to the beach house. It's seen as otherworldly for her, like where the summer is full of possibilities. There's that very much that naive sense of sense of belief when it comes to the beach house. It's seen as very magical. Anything can happen, and that's completely fine. She's a teenager, and she was a kid. She was always there. It's so idolized and so revered as this very special place for Belly. And even to the boys, like even though it's not explicitly shared how they feel about the property, but you can tell when they dealing with their Aunt Julia and the property selling and all that mess going on, you can really see how much they really do care about the beach house, and that pretty much being the only thing that they have left of their mom. So it's a very important place. Pretty much the whole situation of that is very much kind of like how society is destroying third places for teenagers. Like his Aunt Julia and his dad are pretty much trying to do the adult thing and like financially like try to get rid of it in any type of way, which really just goes to show how society is really treating teenagers in third places for them, because third places are extremely beneficial, extremely important for teenagers, even just young adults. Like they have such a huge importance to development and just being human and developing connections. But with society and everything, how it's all playing out, how like things are being defunded because of this administration and, you know, the lizard thing up in the house. Even before then, everything has been just falling apart and falling away with social media and just online shopping. People don't go to the mall anymore. So then brick and mortar stores are closing down because they're not seeing any profits. So then teenagers aren't going to the mall and doing stupid teenager things at the mall like we used to do. Like we used to just like window shop and walk around and hang out with our friends. But then also if you see a girl that you like, or even someone that you know that you don't normally see, and y'all bond over going to, I don't know, Zoomies. Like y'all bond going to Zoomies and y'all talking about the t-shirts or talking about a certain show or a certain character. You guys start to bond, and maybe you guys will finally like find each other. You guys friend each other on Facebook or MySpace or whatever, and you build those connections that way. And then you guys start to talk and be like, oh my god, wait, my cousin goes to your school. Oh shoot, who's your cousin? Like that type of thing. Third Place has really just built those connections. Or we have teenagers who are just, they're chronically online, and that's how they build connection. But even then, how they build connection, is it genuine? And it's not always nice either. Like people are constantly berating each other in comments, because comments have gone really mean. I've seen that over. I haven't watched the videos yet, but people are saying like TikTok comments are really mean. People are like talking shit about each other in their content, and it's gotten really bad. And even teenagers don't have anywhere to hang out outside of social media. Like they don't have anything to just like hang out at. Like the gym that I go to at Planet Fitness, they actually allow teenagers to be at the gym for free for the summer. That turned into their third place. Working out. They in my way. They were in my way. But literally that turned into like the only third place for them left, because there's nothing else for them to fucking do. And especially as they get older, there aren't any programs for them really to do, because they've aged out of programs. A lot of programs, especially if you're in the suburbs like me, a lot of the programs are for middle schoolers and elementary school kids. There is nothing really for high schoolers. For high schoolers, they just, the summer just goes on by. There's nothing for them to do. So it's like you're taking everything away from them, so they don't have nothing to do. They don't have any place to really build connections. Everything has become so distant that they don't even have a sense of community, really. To me, that's what it looks like. It looks like there's no sense of community. There's no sense of deep connections. It's hard for them to figure out who they are with all these aesthetics and all these different trends and everything. They can't find themselves, and they can't really connect deeply to other people outside of the surface level bullshit. And it's kind of frustrating, and that's really what it shows, kind of depicts how they're doing in The Summer I Turned Pretty. They were really trying to take away their third place, because they get the beach house, and Belly goes there whenever she feels lonely and she needs a place to feel like home. But outside of that beach house, they don't fucking talk to each other. Minus Belly being with Jeremiah. That's a video that I did before. I'll link that in the description box below, or put it up here at the top. But outside of the beach house, there is literally no fucking reason for Belly and Jeremiah to be around Conrad. Even Conrad stopped talking to Steven, really, to be quite honest. Like, there's literally no reason for them to even be connected to each other that way anymore, because they don't have that beach house. They don't have that connection anymore. That's where they literally grew and flourished as best friends, as pretty much a family unit. And it's used, but it's not. They don't have that same tie to it, because their mom is gone, and there's just a lot of loss tied to the place. And their dad doesn't help either, because their dad is fucking trash. But essentially, their third place has become it just became there. For Belly, it's still part of her connection, but even then, it's different now, because all this mess happened between her and the boys, and Savannah's gone. The beach house isn't the beach house how it used to be. Their third place is shattered and ruined, essentially. It just became a house, not a home anymore. And so really, I just really wanted to talk about that, how it's really crucial for teenagers to have those third places, because it really, for me, it really gives teens hope. At least that's how I perceive it, and that's how I experience having third places. It gives them hope. It gives them connection. They're allowed to be vulnerable with each other and be in those vulnerable moments where in society it scrutinizes them for every little thing, and they scrutinize each other because that's all they see on social media is nitpicking each other and trying to one up each other, trying to follow a trend. It's not really connecting them. It's just a hive mindset. It's not really connecting them and actually fostering connections and building beliefs and ideals and growing them as people. It's turning them into fucking robots, essentially. So without third places, you're not really letting these teenagers, you're not letting them develop how we've developed before. And it's very much like they're on autopilot mode. Like they're very detached from themselves and detached from each other. And I feel like with third places, it really fosters all that connection and those deep relationships, and even like just learning lessons along the way. Like you can be best friends with one girl 1 minute on camp, on day 1 of camp, and by day 7 you guys don't talk to each other, but you learn lessons along the way with that, and you learn that at camp. Those summer, just the summer in general is a lot of growing and learning, because then by the time they get back to school or start school, if they're starting high school or if they're going into middle school, you go in there with things that you have learned during that time. You didn't have to learn like math, science, but you've learned some skills. You've learned how to foster connections. You've learned who to trust and how to be yourself, be comfortable in yourself. There's things that you've learned along the way, and without that, it's like, what's the point? And it's really hard for that. And I feel like also before social media, previous generations, millennials, we've had the privilege to be ourselves, to make mistakes and do stupid stuff like that. And it's made us better people. But with teenagers today, without their places, without that type of ability to be vulnerable and be who they are and find out who they are, they're constantly being nitpicked at through social media. They're not getting to do those stupid mistakes that we got to do without having a camera in our face. Like obviously there was some record online at the time of us being stupid, or like saying like, oh, you're not in my top 8 or whatever, like through MySpace and all that kind of stuff, but not the way how it is now. We were allowed to be teenagers, and teenagers are not allowed to be teenagers now, and it's freaking frustrating. And I feel like with third places, it's very crucial for their development and for their connections. So what I'm really saying is bring back the third places, bring back programs. I feel like we need more programs for high schoolers. Like there are summer programs for elementary kids and middle school kids, but once they get to high school, there are like no summer programs for them. There's nowhere for them to go. There's nothing for them to do. They're just like, okay, it's your summer break. There's nothing really for them to do, especially if they're not an athlete. If they're an athlete, then there's like, there'll be summer camps like soccer or whatever, especially because that's when they start to roll out, like try to form the teams for the school year type of thing. But if you're not an athlete, what is there for you to do? It's sad. It's sad and depressing and isolating. They already been through COVID. Damn. Like, give them something. And we don't have to make it expensive, but like give them something to do in some places to be, because we have centers, we have like the YMCA, we have places like this. They are being very defunded now, which is so fucking frustrating and disheartening. But we have the places. Why aren't there any programs for high schoolers? Why aren't there any third places for them so they can actually be humans? It's very weird. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about that really, and just the importance of allowing teenagers to be teenagers and be in places where they can feel vulnerable to be themselves, because not everybody feels safe to do it at home and at school, because everybody's scrutinizing you. Your parents are all up in your goddamn business. Some teenagers have parents who are awful people, who are nitpicky and very combative and just aggressive, rude, always have something to say. You get to school, everybody's got something to say too. Not just the students, but even the teachers too. They have a certain belief about you already when you walk in through the door. They're like, oh, you're gonna be my troublemaker. But having third places and having that opportunity to just develop and be yourself is very crucial. That's all I have for this video. If you like this video, be sure to like it. I didn't want to be depressing, but I did want to make this a point. But yeah, comment below what you think about third places, teenagers, and this society world that we're in now, where they're not allowed to really be teenagers. Anyway, until next time, stay magical. Love you. Bye.